Hey, it's Johara. Welcome back to my channel. So I just finished this book, and literally just the last video I made, I explained all this because this is the first time you'll be seeing it if you didn't watch my last video. But I decided to tab my books. It's something really new, and I'm gonna try see how I like it. I figured it'd be easier to get into my favorite scenes better, and they're all color coded, so I know like yellow's for scenes that I really like, green is for my absolute favorite scenes, red is for romance, blue is for siblings. Oops, this one I apparently grabbed two by mistake. Oops. Not working with me. Work with me. Stay. Okay. That's weird. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this book. I did tab quite a few times. It's called As Old as Time, A Twisted Tale by Liz Brazil. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. She tells a bunch of old classics. I'm not big on classics or retellings, but I'm a fan of Beauty and the Beast. It's one of my favorite fairy tales. And Belle's one of my favorite princesses. And so my sister gave this to me for my birthday several years ago. I read it, liked it, and I decided to reread it because I figure it's past time I reread it. So yeah, fun. So I just started tabbing. I tabbed a few other books before this one because I was tabbing it as I read it, and yeah. So yeah, it's like the Beauty and the Beast story, but also a bit different. Okay, so there's several chapters where it shows Maurice fall in love with Belle's mother, and she's actually an enchantress. And up here it says, what if Belle's mother cursed the beast? What if Belle's mother cursed the beast? Yeah, because they found out that it was Belle's mother that cursed the beast, the enchantress. On the back it says, Belle's lofty, smart, resourceful, restless. She longs to escape her poor provincial town for good. She wants to explore the world despite her father's reluctance to leave their little cottage in case Belle's mother returns, a mother she barely remembers. Belle also happens to be the captive of a terrifying, angry beast, and that is her primary concern. But when Belle touches the beast's enchanted rose, intriguing images flood her mind, images of the mother she believes she would never see again. Stranger still, she sees that her mother is none other than the beautiful enchantress who cursed the beast, his castle, and all its inhabitants. Shocked and confused, Belle and the beast must work together to unravel a dark mystery about their families, and it's 21 years in the making. Yeah, turns out Belle's family knew the beast's family. So yeah, it's those chapters where with Maurice and the Enchantress are really boring, at least in my opinion. But the whole thing with Maurice getting captured by the beast and Belle trading her life for him and being his prisoner, and then like refusing to go to dinner at first and then eventually coming out of her room, all of that still happens. And her sneaking off into the West Wing still happens, except this time the beast doesn't stop her in time before she can touch the rose, and she ends up destroying it, and their chances of stopping it. So the servants start becoming more like whatever the heck they are. Like Lemire becomes more like a candle, Cogsworth becomes more like a I don't say candle, what? No, clock. Miss Potts becomes more like a teapot, while the beast becomes more animalistic. So yeah. Belle, it also still shows Belle running away once he scared her from touching the rose, and get attacked by roses and have him save her, and then him almost freeze to death, so she ends up saving him. That all happens too, except this time Belle ties him up to make sure he's restrained because he was unconscious, and then she had a serious talk about him and was asking him a bunch of questions about the enchantress, about the curse, and eventually reveals that she found out her mother was the enchantress, and he was all shocked and confused like she was. So yeah, so it's like these like the main points of this book were the same, but they changed up and twisted it to create their own story from an already told story, you know? So it's good. There's several of them. like there's a whole new world. What if Aladdin had never found the lamp? What if Sleeping Beauty never woke up? What if Mulan had to travel to the underworld? What if Ariel had never defeated Ursula? There's also, I think there's a Frozen one where it's like, what if they, Elsa and Anna weren't sisters, or like were separated and never met, or something like that. I don't remember, but that's something like that. But yeah, this book is good. I liked it. I think I rated it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Yeah, so Belle sees the library, like, of course, because it's like Belle. So and they do a bunch of research, and then they find out that there's a bunch of reports of missing people, so they start investigating it. And Belle keeps getting visions of her mother and hearing her mother's voice, pretty much trying to guide her to answers. And so yeah, and then one of the people that went missing was actually his favorite servant as a kid, and was also Mrs. Potts' husband, Alaric Potts. And so one day he was the stableman, and one day they were in the stable and decided to check out the stables when the beast smelled something and started digging to find his body, and it was all bones. Yeah, so he's been dead for a long time, and that was awful. And he had a diary, and he started reading, and they found out that he was friends with Belle's parents. So they had to unravel a lot of mysteries, keep investigating. They eventually found out that the reason why he was killed is because the beast was able to figure out by like how he was positioned in his whole wound, that he was stabbed, that he was either, that someone must have either there must have been 2 people and one person tied his hands behind his back so he couldn't fight while one person stabbed him, or, which that was kind of just like a joke, as I could think, or something, like his actual realization is that he must have been stabbed by someone he trusted. That's why there was no sign of struggle or resentment, or not resentment, that's not the right word, what? No, there's no sign of struggle or force, because he was by someone he trusted, you know, someone he was close to. So yeah. And then, what else did they discover? They discovered, that, Monsieur Levy, the book owner that's close to Belle, he, had something to do with all this, and they were like, hey, why not we go give him go talk to him. So they had to find a way to escape the castle, because this is also a bit different than the movie, because there was like, well, it was like, how did they explain it? It was like spider webs, but not. Like, it looked like spider webs, but it was like something else that was kind of trapping them in the castle, because the curse was like officially happened and they like cannot leave. But they found a way out, and the 2 of them left to keep find him. They went back to the village and saw that the bookstore was burned, and there was no sign of a body. So they think that he was like out of town or something when it happened. But they still checked it out anyways. And then they decided to see, and then they found a magic mirror, right? A different magic mirror than the one that the beast had, because earlier, before, he showed her a mirror that like showed what was going on around the world, so he could see and, you know, feel like he was part of the world. And yeah, so which is also how Beast ends up finding Belle later, which I'll get to in a minute. But so he has to but this magic mirror is different, because it's like showed the past. It showed pretty much Maurice's and Rosalind, that's her mother's name, life. You know, it shows several scenes, like significant scenes, like, and it showed her handing the Imagineer to Levy because she trusted him, and it showed so many scenes, you know. And then it even showed Alaric Potts going over to their place several times and then finding out he died or whatnot, or went missing or something. And then they decided to go to Maurice's to let him know that Belle was okay. And Belle's like, maybe you should like hide and wait here because so I can explain everything to my father first. But then he was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and she still didn't come out. So he went in and she was gone. So he used his Imagineer to find her, and she was tied up and restrained. And she was like bumping, so it's like she was bumping on a bumpy road. So he has to save her, but he knew he needed reinforcements. So he went back to the palace, found out that all of his servants were nothing. Like, they were all like stiff, like they were just normal things, you know, not people in things' bodies or whatnot. So he had to go back to find another way to save Belle without their help. And and then while that was happening, this guy Frederick, who runs the asylum, was the one that kidnapped Belle, and she locked her up, where she found Maurice in the cell next to her, who was also locked up. And then he ends up dragging her away, and he wanted to find out if she was one of these people with magic. So he drugs her and basically tortures her to figure out if she has magic or not. And yeah, he's a horrible man. But somehow she escapes, and she doesn't even know how she escapes. Like, it just happened. So she ends up being able to get the keys to free everyone and run, and people start running around creating chaos in the asylum. Yeah, so as that was happening, the Beast asked for the villagers' help. And everyone was like, monster, Maurice was right, because it also showed the scene where he was like telling everyone that what happened with Belle and being kidnapped, and no one believed him. That part, same with the movie, also happened. But then he used his Imagineer to show what was happening to Belle, and everyone was like, he's a beast, but at the same time, Belle, I mean, she might be a little off, but she doesn't deserve this. You know, she's being tortured by one of our own. So, and then Gaston comes. Turns out he was working with Frederick, because Frederick was like, I can help you make Belle your bride. But when Belle and him were talking, Frederick told Belle he didn't care about Gaston's basically just a pawn. He doesn't even know why Frederick really wants Belle, because he has no interest in helping him make Belle his bride or whatnot. So yeah, and then Gaston was like, he was just gonna help me make Belle marry me. I mean, I didn't know he was gonna do all this. And then he was like, we need to lock up the Beast. He's obviously in cahoots with Frederick. Yeah, so but they decided to deal with the Beast later, because they all had decided to become a mob and go after Frederick and the asylum. And they got there just as everyone was running out, and then the people started being reunited with lost loved ones. And then oh yeah, Belle, when she was freeing everyone, she also found her mother, who was very, very weak. She was in there the longest, and she was practically drained of most of her magic. And Belle also found out that she used a tiny bit of what she had left of her magic to free Belle. That's how she got out and was able to free everyone else. But then the three of them ended up running, and they get caught by Frederick. Yeah, so their escape plan didn't go out quite as well. He even held a gun up at them, wouldn't let them leave. And then what's his name, Maurice started remembering things and remembered Frederick, because Frederick was actually a really good friend, was Maurice's best friend. He even used to be one of those people with magic, but he figured out a way to take that part of himself out so that he wasn't like that, and then he wants to cleanse everyone else, because he thinks the people who are normal are the pure ones, while people with magic are impure. I think I've read that or seen that somewhere else. Where was that? Like, where what this set of people are considered pure, this set of people are considered impure. What show? I don't think it was a book I read. I think it was a show or a movie I read. Watched. What was it that had that? It was like the purities, the impurities. Crap, that's gonna bug me, because I know I've heard that somewhere else. It'll come to me. It'll come to me, and then I will let you know in my next video. Whenever it comes to me. I hope it does, because that's gonna annoy me if it doesn't. But yeah. So and then Belle gets all mad because she was like, you murdered Alaric Potts. He was your friend. He trusted you, and he wasn't a person with magic. And then you could tell that he was visibly distraught, because it was never his intent to hurt a human, because he doesn't consider these people with magic human, enchantresses and sorcerers and stuff. He doesn't consider them human. And he was like, it was never my intent to hurt him, but he was helping these inhuman things. So yeah. And then the beast came and started attacking him, Frederick, and I was acting all animalistic, like he was losing himself. And then Belle managed to calm him down. It was really sweet. I loved it. I tabbed it in red, because that's for romance. Okay, where is it? It's towards the end, so it's like one of these ones. Okay, it's not that one. Or no, I think I did it as green, because it's like a favorite scene. No, not that one either. Where? What the heck? Yeah, here it is. Okay, yeah, I did. I tabbed it green. I probably should have tabbed red, because it is more of a sweet scene between them. Maybe I'll change it. I don't know. I'm too lazy right now. But it was really sweet. She was like, it's me, Belle. And when I was reading this, like, my mind went to Divergence. Like, the first one when Belle was trying to get Tris to remember her. Like, it reminded me of that, except for the fact that Belle didn't put a gun on herself to get Tris to, or Beast to remember her, like Tris did with 4. But yeah, she was like, it's Belle. And then she was like, you promised me to come back. She was like, come back to me, for me, come back, for me. And it was just so sweet. And then he did come back, and he was like, and then by then all the villagers had gathered around and was watching the scene. And then Frederick was like, see, this is what I mean, they're inhuman, they don't have the same genuine as us humans, and this and that, even though what he's doing is so not genuine or loving or anything. Like, seriously, what's wrong with him? He's a narcissist or something. But they were all just too stunned, not sure what to do. And so he was like, yeah, we need to kill the beast. Not Frederick. I don't. What happened to Frederick? I don't remember. My mind just go. I literally just finished this book, and my mind's just going blank. Oh yeah, I remember what happened to him. And then Frederick was saying something when all of a sudden he was like sputtering out. When all of a sudden he falls, and Gaston's there with a machete, and then he's like, he was a monster. I did what I had to do. Now let's kill the beast. And Belle, will you marry me? And Belle was like, Belle confronted him about burning Levy's bookshop, because he was like, and Gaston defended himself by saying, books are awful. Look what they turned you into. I wanted to punch him when he said that. I was like, I mean, we're all on this channel because we love books. That's why we all hate Gaston. He's probably all of our least favorite villains because of his hate for books. Tell me I'm right. Or is that just me? I don't know. But, he said, But Belle then turned to crowd and was like, I will not be marrying Gaston for obvious reasons, and we will not be locking up the beast. And then she was like, Gaston is no better than Frederick for killing him because he should have been, in a trial or something. And then, yeah, so they all decided to spare the beast, and Rosalind, Belle's mother, was like, I have a little bit of magic left in me that I can turn you back to human. And then they both got, Belle and him both got really happy, but then Beast is like, and my servants, and she's like, I do not have magic for you and them. And she's like, and he was like, this shows how long he can come because he's truly selfless now. He's like, if you turn just them, will you be able to? And he's like, I would. And he was like, that's the route I want to take. And she was like, okay. They went to the castle the next morning because they were all beat and needed to rest. But then, yeah, and then she turned everyone back into all the servants, and then Rosalind, Maurice, Belle, and Beast were all talking, and Belle, they were all talking about the, what do they call them? I forgot what they call them. I think it's supposed to be a French word. But all the people with magic who fell free from the asylum, they're all like out and about, like running on the run now because there's still people who want them dead for having magic. And then Rosalind was like, if you can get one of them, they will be able to have the power to change you back into a human. And but we also need to find a safe place to put them. And then Rosalind's like, Belle said that, and then Rosalind's like, yeah, but now the entire spell hasn't been broken yet. Yes, your servants are human now, but you're not, and the entire world has still forgotten about this one kingdom. It's still forgotten to most people. So this is actually a safe place for all of them. So if they can find all of them, bring them back there, and then turn him back human, then they all have a safe place. He's human. Him and Belle are happy. So yeah, Belle's finally gonna get the adventure she's always wanted because Beast asked Belle if he would go with her to find all these people because he wanted her with him, and she was like really happy at first. But then she looked at her parents. She was like, I just got my family back together, like, and then they told her that she needs to go because this is for her happiness, her happily ever after, this and that. And she was like, so she was like, yes, I would love to go with you, Beast. And then this is like the, yeah, this is okay. They decided to leave in the morning because they wanted to have one last night with all of them, like telling each other everything that's happened, like catch up on all these stories, you know. But yeah, and then so Belle and Beast decided to leave to find all these people, bring them back, give Beast turn human, and that's how the book ended. So yeah, I liked it. Obviously, look at all my tabs. But it's a good book. If you like retellings and like Beauty and the Beast, I mean, if you don't like Beauty and the Beast, then I probably don't recommend it because you probably won't find it good. I mean, it is a little bit different than the regular story, so you still might, but that's entirely up to you. But if you're a fan of Beauty and the Beast, you're a fan of huge retellings, I suggest this book because it was good. I think I said I rated 4 out of 5 stars, and I think that is correct. I'll have to check Goodreads. But yeah. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe and comment your thoughts on this book if you've read it or heard any other books. Tell me if you like any of her other books because I've been thinking about reading some of them. And yeah, we'll chat below. I'll talk to you guys later.